Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Go ahead and ping some people in as we get started. This is part 2 of yesterday. Figured I'd come in, see if I can catch some other people who missed yesterday's word curse and it wasn't recorded. So I figured I will repeat and go a little deeper to kind of help you guys understand what is happening in our world right now as you and I transition, as we get elevated. Take that. Thank you for joining. I'm going to go ahead and ping some more people in. If you guys can ping some people in, we will go ahead and get started. So let's see, as I'm pinging people in, hope you guys are having an amazing day so far. I want to give some people some time to come in. That way we can, I don't have to repeat myself. And that way we can have a dialogue. So this is a part 2 from yesterday. A lot of people didn't get to make it yesterday because it was just sporadic. I didn't plan it. So today I decided to put it and plan it so that anyone and everyone who sees it could have saved it on their calendar and join us. So yesterday I spoke on word curses, right? I spoke on how word curses can be spoken from authoritative figures. And that's where I want to continue. And again, like I said, I will recap. I will read what the enemy has spewed over us. This is no different than what was spoken last year. The only difference is you have grown. When I asked how many people heard what the president said over the U.S. and how many of you physically said, no, oh, the devil's a liar, only a couple of you raised your hand, right? Only a couple of you did. Last year, now if I ask you last year, when they started saying, oh, there's another wave, the coronavirus is taking people out, how many of you rejected it? Honestly, last year, how many of you, by show of hands, rejected COVID last year? How many of you, by show of hands, the same thing that was spoken, this is no different than last year? Raise your hand. How many of you last year, when it started, literally said, the devil's a liar, that's not going to touch my home, I'm not getting that? How many of you physically said, by a show of hands, nope, I don't receive that, not in my neighborhood, not over my children, not over my husband? How many of you? So we had one person raise their hand. So see so we had one person, 2 people raising their hand that did it last year. And this year we had 3 people. Someone else just raised their hand. This year we had 2 people raise their hand. I asked how many people heard what the president said and said it again this year. So see the numbers, see the ratio. This is why what happened in America happened. This is why what happened in your children's school happened. This is why what the enemy's agenda wanted to happen happened. I'm not saying we can change and alter anything, but what I am saying is when you have authority, what is yours is covered, protected, cannot be touched unless God says so, unless he needs you to go through it, and he will prepare you in advance, like, no, daughter or son, nope, that's gonna hit your household, I need you to prepare. That's our Father. So let me read for those who may not know. I'm going to clear my hands. Let me read what our president said about his people, about his country. All right. It says, and I'm gonna break it down like I did yesterday. So those that were on yesterday, bear with me. because there's some people who weren't. I want to send a direct message to the American people. So that is everyone that is an American, everyone on American soil, everyone who wants to be an American. He has the legal right to speak and say whatever he wants. And it has the right to stick because he is an authoritative figure. He is the highest of the highest on the American soil. Due to the steps we've taken, Omicron has not yet spread as fast as it could have otherwise, Biden said, but it's here now. They're waiting to announce that it's here. It may not be here. And it's spreading. They're giving it the right to spread. And it's going to increase. They're demanding that it increase. We are looking at a winter of severe illness. They are prophesying severe illness this winter and death for a certain group of people, the unvaccinated. For themselves, their families, and the hospitals they'll soon overwhelm. This is not a coincidence. This is very intentional writing and speaking. Now, me being called to the arts and entertainments, right? I've been doing research for about, my daughter's 8, so probably about 12 years now, because we're both called to the same mountain. And he started with me, and then he told me I was going to have a daughter, and that she was going to be in that realm. So then I really started digging, because I was like, oh no, nope. I'm not about to be nobody's sacrifice. So let me make sure that I know everything, all the ins and outs. So I've been doing my research for years now. And I just want to let you guys know something. The music that you listen to, the reason why they say don't listen to secular music, the reason why most ex-witches and warlocks and druids and demonic entities, through people, say, I cannot believe the church plays that song and just adds Christian lingo to it. I cannot believe they use the same track that we use. I cannot believe that they sing and worship to the same song that we use. You know why? Because they create the track, they create the track high, they get high off of whatever drug, they go into a realm, extract that music, then bring it to our realm, and then what they do is they write the words, but they write it in witch lingo. What's witch lingo? Witch lingo is a language that we don't understand. They say regular words, but the regular words don't mean it. So let me give you an example. Remember D'Angelo? How many of you remember D'Angelo? Raise your hand. Anybody remember D'Angelo? Okay. All right. Thank you. So D'Angelo, I cannot remember the name of the song, but it was the one where he was completely and totally naked on the TV, and it stopped right at his V by his belly button. Okay. Everybody knows that video because it made a stir. It made a stir. When I was doing my research, he said his record label told him to target virgin Christians. There's a target market. That is the unvaccinated. Target virgin Christians. He took his words that he wrote to a witch doctor in Haiti, who then put a spell on it. Every time it played, it attacked virgin Christians to give it up, basically. That was the plan. It sold so many copies, but you see, after that, he was done, right? Okay. So there's always a consequence. They don't get away with it. There's always a consequence. But there are people who fall prey to those things. Then there's another guy, Van Halen, Zed Zeppelin, that group, those groups. They themselves said, as they were, popular and rising, what they did was they took it to the grandmaster. After it was done, cut, everything they need to do, they took it to the grandmaster, which is a wizard that did the same thing. The words became curses. They chanted over it, and they basically spewed whatever it is they wanted to coerce people to do or believe through that rhetoric. He says, it's horrible now that I know better. And when I tell you, The enemy does not play fair. He is a low blow. He will low blow you. So that's why it says be mindful what your ear gates listen to. Be mindful what your eye gates take in. Because that right there is what you are up against when you're not covered. I told you I will turn on a movie and I will just the credits of the beginning of the movie. Nope, can't watch it. Because I have built with the Holy Spirit a wall of sensitivity so that I can discern what the person, the director, not the actors, that's a difference, the director wanted to put out. I'm able to discern that. And I can discern that he wants suicide. I can discern he wants fear. And y'all know me, I'm not sitting under nobody spewing no fear. No, thank you. So, this one, what did I tell you Omicron means? It means smaller one. Omicron means awakening in Hebrew. It means ayin. Ayin is the eye, eyesight. So God is awakening us to the scandals and the things of the enemy, the tricks behind the scene. And this is one. What I said yesterday is you go and dismantle each one of those, like I just did. It will not increase in my neighborhood. Everybody on my street in my neighborhood will not flood and overwhelm the hospital. I will drive by a hospital and I will command that hospital to be covered by the blood so that it will not be overwhelmed and overpowered by sick people that are unvaccinated. That is how you don't just reject it and leave it be. That is a start, but you void it. You have the legal right in your jurisdiction. Know your jurisdiction. Know your area. How far can you go? Yesterday I said, ask God, do I need to go to the four corners of my city? And do it. Don't be lazy. This has a life in stake, lives in stake. Because if there's just one righteous in that city and you do your job, you will protect your entire city. What are the four corners in Atlanta? Anyone who's been to Atlanta, on 285, it is a loop. But on 285, there are 285 east, south, no, four. And literally, myself and three other people, I took the north, 285, 75 north, because that's the area I resided in. Someone else took 285, 85 south, because that's where she lived. That was an entry point. 285 west and east. And we all went at the same time. And we prayed and pled the blood and said no. We did that over, what happened? When, what's his name? Floyd happened. We did that when Floyd happened. So that they wouldn't be able to do that in Atlanta. We sure did. We made sure that they could not bring that and any crazy stuff to Atlanta. We had one protest that stormed the Capitol when it stormed the Capitol in Washington, but it wasn't that bad. So, I'm just helping you guys understand. You've been in training. You've been equipped. You're more than equipped. You've been under Arise for a good 6 months. That's just a minimum. 6 months you've been in Arise. You know what to do. You know what to do. Go to your kids' school. Drop them off. The bus. When you see the bus coming, you put a hedge of protection around that bus, that the bus driver won't get sick, that none of the kids will get sick. Go. Your street. Every time you drive on your street, whenever the Holy Spirit leads you, if you see kids, same thing that I told y'all last year. You see a little black boy, African American boy walking down the street. What do you say? I pray that if he ever gets pulled over from the cops, it will not cost him his life. I pray that no matter what happens, if he does get pulled over for a ticket, it can be 5, he can be 10. It don't matter. You are covering his future. You're covering his life. Same thing. Same thing. That's what we're doing now. Don't just void and be content with voiding. That is great. It's better than last year accepting it. It's better than years before not even understanding that you had power to do anything. But now let's take it up a notch. Now let's exercise what we've learned in Arise. Let's pull down the principalities if you have that authority. Ask God, do I have the jurisdiction to go up against what the president said in my area? He will tell you yes or no. If he says yes, where do I do it? How do I do it? Do I go to the four corners of the city? Do I go to the border if you live close to the border? Do I go to my church? Do I go to where do I go? What's my jurisdiction? How far? What do I have a region? Is it the whole Southeast? Is it all of, what is that? That would be Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama. Am I that far? Can I spread that far? You can't drive that far, but you can spiritually go that far. So there's no time and there's no distance in the realm of the spirit. This word curse is intended to make their plans accelerate. Hear me. This word curse is intended to make their plans accelerate over our lives. Whatever their plans may be. The mandates of masks, the mandates of the vaccine, the mandates of staying at home, the mandate of not being able to have freedom, the mandate. How many of you guys know about, I'm going to clear the hands. How many of you guys, by show of hands, know about what's going on in Australia? Just raise your hand if you know what's going on in Australia. I just want to see before I say anything. Did I put the hands back on? Yes. Raise your hand if you know what's going on in Australia. They censor us, so we don't know. But what's going on in Australia is a trial, because that's probably what they want to do. So they have concentration camps. They have police knocking on the door. And if you are vaccinated but your husband is not, they are legally, forcibly taking you from your home. If you're an indigenous person, so you're native to that country, the indigenous people of Australia, which are mostly black, what they're doing is, not right now, go finish cleaning. What they're doing is, if you are native, they are rounding you up and forcibly injecting you with the vaccine. When I tell you, that is not far-fetched anywhere. They are trying to see how far they can go. Remember, I forgot who said it. If anybody knows, you can text me. Some famous person or activist said, what you don't fight, you conform to. What you don't stand up against will eventually hit your doorstep. You're no better. You're no better. Because what they do in one place, remember when Corona was just in China and we were just chilling like, oh my God, poor Chinese people. The next thing you know, boom, it hit our soil. We're not exempt. We're not that far apart, to be honest. So what's happening in Australia, it could happen here. It would be high hell and hard water, but that's the plan. They have concentration camps. If you look up concentration camp for, what's it called? For COVID in America, they have them. Last year, I was doing research, and they have them. They said first person who had COVID in a certain area was transported to the COVID camp. Sure did. So that's what I'm saying. We have to open our eyes. They want an agenda. They are trying to speed up an agenda that they want to happen, but they're forcing it, and they're trying to make it happen, and that is the problem. That's where God is like, no. Natural courses of events that happen, yes. But a forcible apocalypse, no. So, I just wanted to come on today again to kind of go a little bit deeper, because I need you guys to understand the severity of your words carry weight. You are heavy in the spirit realm. I need you guys to understand that it's go time. When we say it's go time, all this time that we've been saying is go time, we didn't just mean millionaire status. We didn't just mean married. We meant rise up. If you work in the hospital, rise up and say, this hospital will not be flooded. None of my counterparts will get it. None of my counterparts will be overwhelmed. None of my counterparts will have anxiety over this. That won't happen again. It happened to us once. We know better now. And walk the corridors in tongues. pleading the blood, dispatching high-ranking angels, and daring the enemy to come in this hospital because I'm here. I'm here so nobody can die. Even if we do have COVID-19 patients with the Omicron, they will not die because I'm here. They will not die because I'm here. They cannot die because I'm here. That's how you speak. My children's school, they cannot pass. Kids cannot die in my children's school because my child is there. Nothing can come near where my child is or anybody connected to them. These are the prayers of this time. This is how you pray. And then see what warfare strategy the enemy is going to give. I mean, the warfare strategy the Lord will give you to combat a Gideon, David. When do I go? When is it imperative that I show up at this school? Don't just show up. When do you want me to show up, Holy Spirit? How do you want me to show up? Do you want me to drive around 7 times? Do you want me to what's the word? Do you want me to walk the hallways? Maybe say, hey, can I go have lunch with my child today? And that way you can walk the corridors. Can I sit and watch my child today? I don't care how old they are. That's your way of getting your feet on the ground. You got to ask the Holy Spirit. I told you the story yesterday about what's it called? About the riots. And I told you before, but I'm going to tell you this one now. Same thing, same city. Doing research, I knew something was off with the city because every person who moves here gets stuck. They can't leave. And I was just like, what? It feels like chains. It feels like you're in a corset. It feels like you have, what's the word? Like chains to the ground. Like you literally leave and it draws you back. It's like a black hole. And I'm not the only person. Everyone says it. So I was like, guys, something's got to shake. Something is off in this city. What is it? So I'm doing research as I always do. And lo and behold, I come across in the 1940s, Camp Hood, which is now Fort Hood, which is the largest military installation, was very tiny. It was very small. But the amount of people that they brought to this city increased the bottom line, the budget. So any military base is in a small city. And basically that small city thrives because of the military. There's food, there's eatery, there's shopping, and that's it, and housing. So Camp Hood was supposed to be temporary. Well, the 4 founders of this city, who happened to be Caucasian, who happened to be Masons, said, we're not going to let them go. And they did a seance. They did a sacrifice. And they said that the camp cannot leave, which meant any person that comes here can't leave. That's what I was feeling. When I tell you I moved here from Central America, I moved to the US in 94, 95, I can't remember. And from hearing, oh, we're moving to Texas, I was like, I don't want to go there. And my dad was like, me neither, but that's where we got to go. And I was just like, I don't want to go. It was just something, and I was not a believer, didn't know God. I was in high school, I didn't know God. And I was like, I don't want to go there. My spirit, not knowing it was my spirit at the time, I just didn't want to go. Ended up coming here my senior year. As soon as I graduated, I had a ticket up out of here. I was at my sister's house. And then I went to college. That's how quickly I ran from this place. It was just, I felt it. And I didn't know what I was feeling at the time because I was not a believer. I did not know God. Speed up the things that have been happening in this place. The friends, the teacher, my child's teacher was a 2nd grade teacher, and then he had her again 4th grade. She goes, you're back? She's like, oh my God, you too? It's like a black hole, right? You can't leave. Everybody, my friends from high school was like, I leave, I come back. I leave, I come back. And I was like, okay, God, we got to do something. So when he gave me that information, he said, go to City Hall and drive around 7 times. I said, oh my God, that's a governmental building. They're going to come lock me up. He said, do what I said. So I did it. Drove around in my car 7 times praying in tongues. Not one person stopped me. I said, okay. Then I stopped and said, what next? He said, get out and go in. I said, oh God. I said, what am I supposed to say? I walk in, there's a receptionist. I was shocked because I wasn't expecting anybody. She was just like, can I help you? I was like, no, just looking around. Thank you. and it was an old school. It happened to be an old high school, the first high school in this city. So when I tell you it had history, it had some history, and I felt it as soon as any historical building